All right, hopefully you just watched that wrap as a review on how to graph a line. Just remember, your first step is to find your slope and your y-intercept. So your beginning point is your y-intercept. This equation, my y-intercept is 1. So we started at 1, and then based on my slope, 2/3, I find my next point. I get my 2 points and I connect them with a line. So my slope was 2/3, so a rise of 2, a run of 3, this was 2, have my 2 points, and make a line. Okay? Draw the line through the points, easy as that. Now, we've also had some problems. Let's say, we'll ignore this one, but let's say y equals -2/3 x, but there was no y-intercept, okay? So then my beginning point would be 0 because my beginning is really 0 because there's nothing there. Let's make that a good arrow, there we go. So my beginning point would be 0. Then if I have a slope of -2/3, I'm going to apply that negative to just one number, okay? It's -2/3. That does not mean -2 over -3, okay? A negative divided by a negative is a positive. You can either work it as -2/3 or as a 2 over -3. That is equivalent to -2/3 either way. I usually just stick my negative with the numerator or with the rise. Either way, whatever you want to do. So my beginning point for this equation would be 0. My rise, I'm going to go with this one and say it is -2. I go down 2. And I'm going to, my run be 3. 1, 2, 3. And I'm going to use a ruler, which is going to be my Costco card. There we go. Graph a line. Easy as that. All right, that review is on page 237 in your book. There's also some good references. Maybe I'll write this out for you if you want to look in your book. 237 is a good reference. Also, page 225. And what we're working on today is on page 227, so it kind of jumps around a little bit. Let's see if you can see that. Very well, there we go. 237, 225, those are the pages in your book. Okay, so for our assignment today, yes, if you're watching this, I'm going to do problems for your assignment. Let's see if I can zoom in a little. Here we go. Okay. So now we are given the slope and we're given the y-intercept, and all we have to do is write an equation. So just remember that your equation for a line is y, well, that pen is not great. Y equals mx plus b. My slope is m. My y-intercept is b. All right. So I'm going to write y equals my slope, 4/3 x, plus my intercept. My intercept is a -5. So I'm just going to write -5 there. Plus a -5. It's the same thing as a -5. Okay. Question number 2. My slope is -1/2. My beginning point is 0, or my y-intercept. Okay, so I'm going to write my equation for a line, my relationship between y and x to create this line. Y equals my slope, -1/2 x, plus my intercept would be 0. So I'm actually just going to write it y equals -1/2 x. Right there. All right, I'm going to do one more of these for you. Here we go, number 4. My slope is -3, that's my m. My y-intercept, or beginning point, is 1. I'm going to write my equation, y equals -3x plus 1. Alright, that should be really easy. You should finish 1 through 12 really quickly. Okay, let's move on down to these questions. These are a little more challenging. The only reason is, up until now, when you have found the slope of a line, you have been given the points to find the slope between. Now we just have the line, and we have to locate the points ourselves. So we are just going to, I'm going to zoom in a ton here. For our purposes, we are going to just use the points so we can be precise where our line crosses through the corners of our squares. That's going to be our points, okay? So on this line right here, it's going to cross the y-intercept, and on all of your problems, it's going to cross the y-intercept on a corner of a square, okay? So here, our y-intercept is 5. That's 2, 4, and I have to count one more up. It's 5. So b equals 5. Oh, whoops, b equals b. b equals 5. Okay, that's my y-intercept, and now I just need to figure out my slope, and I can write my equation for a line. So this is my beginning point. Now, the tricky part is just finding my end point. So right here, it's going to cross through at the corners. So I'm going to say, look, I have to go down to a -2 because I'm going down, and I'm going to the left a -5. So my slope equals -2 over 5, -5. So when I write my equation, it would be y equals -2 over -5x plus my intercept, which would be 5. Okay, now there's just something a little interesting here that we can simplify this a little bit, because what is a negative divided by a negative? It's a positive. So I'm actually going to rewrite that equation, y equals 2/5 x plus 5. Okay, so if I started here like I normally would when I've been given 2 points, I usually go left to right. I would say I have a rise of 2 and a run of 5, which would be positive 2/5. But since we are starting here at our y-intercept, we have a rise of -2, a run of -5. It's the same thing. Negative divided by negative is a positive. So this is our answer for number 13. Okay, let's look at number 14. Here we go. All right. So first off, I'm going to locate my y-intercept where this line crosses the y-axis. Well, once again, it's up here at 5, so b equals 5. And then I just need to find points where the line crosses at the corners of the squares, okay? So I can see it crosses here. I can also see it crosses here. So we can just double check our slope that way if we have 2 points where it crosses. But I'm going to start here, my beginning point. I'm going down 4 and over 1. Let's just check and see if that works again. Let's go down 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. Oh, it works. -4, 1. So I just double checked my slope. It was the same between both points. So my slope is a rise of -4 and a run of 1. So now I can write my equation, y equals mx plus b, right? My m equals -4 over 1. My y-intercept is 5. Oh, don't forget my x. Okay, you could leave it like that, but when we have it in an equation, we usually just see it -4x plus 5, right? Because -4 divided by 1 is just -4. So you're going to want to write it like that. So just how when we looked at an equation and if the slope wasn't in a fraction, we made it in a fraction to graph it. When we figure out our slope from graphing it, If it ends up being the run being 1, we're just going to remove the run for our equation, because negative 4 divided by 1 is just negative 4. Okay, I'm going to do one more, and then I will let you do these on your own. Okay, here's number, I'm going to skip down, see if you guys are paying attention. I'm going to skip down to number 17, because that's easy for my camera to read. Okay, so I'm going to see where the line crosses the y-intercept. It's crossing down here at negative 2. So my beginning point is negative 2. Now I need to find some other points on this graph that my line intersects. Well, it's a lot of them. It's going through there, it's going through there. Look at all those corners. Alright, so this was my beginning point. My rise was a negative 1, my run was a positive 1. Oh, negative 1, positive 1, negative 1, positive 1. So it looks like my slope, it's consistent, right? It's a rise of negative 1, a run of positive 1. So a rise of negative 1, a run of positive 1. Okay, I'm going to throw that into my equation of y equals mx plus b. My m is negative 1 over 1 times x plus my intercept. That was my dog trying to get in the room, guys. He is scratching at the door. Alright, my y-intercept is a negative 2. So I already wrote my plus, so I could just put negative 2 here. Alright, let's clean that up. So as I said before, if your run is just a positive 1, we are just going to get rid of it, because negative 1 divided by 1 is a negative 1x, and then a plus a negative 2 is the same thing as a negative 2. Alright, I can simplify that even more. I can get rid of that 1, right? So I can write it y equals negative x minus 2. Alright, well, I'll just do one more for you because, oh, they're so fun. One more, we'll just keep it going. Okay, here's 18. My y-intercept, again, it's at negative 2. So b equals negative 2. Alright, let's find some points on this line that it crosses through on the corners. Okay, it crosses right here, and I see it crosses right here. So let's see, to get from this point to this point, my rise is going to be 1, 2, 3. My run is going to be 2. Let's see if I got that right. I'm just going to double check it and do it again. My rise is 1, 2, 3. Yep. My run of 2. Alright. Here on this, my line is going up to the right, like I'm going, up the mountain. So I know that my slope for sure is positive. Over here, we were kind of going down the mountain. If I made that a mountain, my line was going down, so I had a negative slope. It's a good way to just double check that you have the right answer. I ended up with a negative slope. My line was going down into this quadrant. Okay, here I have a positive slope. It's going to end up in this top right quadrant. So I have my intercept and my slope. I can write my equation. Y equals slope times x plus the y-intercept. My y-intercept's a negative 2, so I'm just going to write it like that. Now I'm going to leave my slope as a fraction because there's a 2 in the denominator. Okay. Over here, I just got rid of the 1 beneath it. You could probably just leave it like that, but this is the proper form right here. Okay. And again, I'll go back. Here's my answer for 18. My y-intercept being a negative 2, my rise being a positive 3, my run being positive 2. So y equals mx plus b. Okay, this should not take you too long. You should be able to get this done and have a great weekend. We will talk to you guys soon.